Hi, Shabbat Shalom and Moadim L'Simcha. This is an important time on our calendar as we're coming to the end of Pesach. You know, Pesach is associated with the Seders and it's associated with matzah and eating restrictions. But there is a lot more, and you have to dig a little deeper. And I'd just like to touch on a few of those things. On the seventh day of Pesach, which is tomorrow, we'll read the narrative about crossing the Sea of Reeds or the Red Sea, Yam Suf. And what we learn about that is that was the last of the miracles that God provided at that point in our people's history. And had we not been able to cross that sea, we would not have become a people. Our history would have ended right there. But we were able to cross the sea. The rabbis asked the following question: how did it happen? And they talk about one guy named Nachshon ben Aminadav, who jumped into the water. By jumping, he expressed faith in the future. And when he jumped in, it was then that the waters parted. And it speaks then to something that's different than what we read about in the Seder, because in the Seder, it's all about God's providence. It's all about God's power. It's about God as the Redeemer. But we know that God can't work alone, that God has to work with people. People are willing to take power, and people are willing to make things happen, to make things change, yes, even to cause the sea to split. And then there's another element at the end of Passover. That is, this is the holiday where we read Shir HaShirim, excuse me, the Song of Songs. Song of Songs is a love song. It's really an intense love song. It borders on the erotic. And the Song of Songs makes no mention of God's name at all. And so the rabbis interpret it as being a love song between God and God's people, the Hebrew people, the people who were slaves, and then the people who came into the land. And that love song comes from, according to the tradition, Melech Shlomo, King Solomon. And what we see in that love song is that Solomon has what to say about it. And Solomon, Shlomo, comes from the word shalom, peace. And so although God is not mentioned in this story, perhaps we do find God in peace. And perhaps we also find God in love. And so this story then, which is a story about the fulfillment of our liberation, is a story that tells us that the fulfillment of our liberation will come from our capacity to pursue peace and our capacity to realize love as equal partners, whether that be with our loved ones, our spouses, our family members, whether that be with God or be with our people. I wish you Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach, and we'll see you on the other end.